what you're thinking. No big deal, right? Well, for a guy like me that has this work truck that I get in and out of 20 times a day, it was a real pain in the ass to add keyless entry to it. So let me show you how I did it.
Okay, so here's the mess I've made. Got old alarm system my buddy gave me, and then door actuators out of early 2000s, I think, believe it was, Ford Explorer. There's probably other vehicles. I went to my local pick and pull, and that's yanked them out for cheap. And then this is the LED light, and then the valet switch, which you need for this unit to program. And then these are the relays to operate the actuators. Now, obviously this is a mess, and this is just temporary, just twisted wires together. I just did this to prove that it works. Let's see, there's lock, unlock, and then I have a silent lock and unlock. So this is just proof of concept. Now, wiring is right here. Alright, so now the colors of these wires are obviously for this system, so it may not apply to yours. But the basics should be there. Got a red for your 12 volt, and then the red white was for sensing. It was a power for the dome light, which I'm not sure I'll wire up, but it said go ahead and put that to 12 volts. And then we've got ignition switch power to the pink wire on my, like I said, my system is, don't worry about the color coding on if it's, double check on yours to make sure it's the same, but probably not going to be. Black's going to be your ground, and then you have a negative, lock negative, and an unlock negative. So the alarm puts out a ground for lock and then a separate ground for unlock. Then we got the purple wire, which is the ground for the alarm, the horn. Okay. Plus, that's just getting 12 volts constantly, and then it's getting its ground from the purple wire. And then, so you'll see my 12 volts is actually splitting off to a lot of stuff. It's going to the red, white, and then coming down here, and then it's doing a lot of stuff down here. So what's happening here is I got two relays, which you'll see sitting right here. Two relays, so they're taking a negative in for my lock and a negative in for unlock. And when they're not activated, they're not putting out anything, which is key here, because you don't want these actuators, always having power, or else they'll just drag your battery dead. So here's the wiring schematic for that. So here's my two actuators. Now, they're not really a positive negative, because sometimes they're positive negative, sometimes they're negative positive. That's how the actuators work. When you get positive negative this direction, it'll lock. When you get it this direction, it'll unlock. I'm probably backwards on that, but either way, they switch polarity. Just like an electric motor. You switch the polarity on an electric motor, it'll go the other direction. So you see my relay 1, relay 2. So 87 and 85 and 86 are all getting 12 volts. 87A, both getting a ground. Of course, my phone rings while I'm recording. Okay, so we got the 86 on the unlock. So that's getting your unlock negative, or lock negative, sorry, lock negative. And then your unlock negative is going to 85 on this relay. And then your outputs are 30. So we got one output. I just gonna parallel it to both of these. Then the other output parallel to both of these. So try to make sure those are the same, obviously, because that way you don't have one locking and one unlocking. But you'll figure that out real quick and just switch your polarities. As an added note, I have these two, or like I said, I have a Ford Explorer. I have another actuator for the driver's door, which is out of something completely different that I'm not even sure what it is. So a friend gave it to me. But that's what I'm going to be installing on the driver's door. Alright, so step one, got the wire routed. Got just a 2 conductor routed through here, through the little boot here. I had to pull a boot off of both ends and feed the wire in, and I was able to hook it. Put a hook through that hole, hook the wire, pull it through, and it's just hanging here. Got my actuator. Try and mount it. Somewhere down here. And I just got to connect that rod to this rod. I got two different options for clamping the two together. I think this one's going to be easier, but it's kind of bent, so I don't know if I'll be able to tighten that one, so probably going to end up with this one. So here's where it got real tricky. This is my back door, and the lock is internal, so there was no way to activate it. So what happens is that's locked. So I wired up this actuator to just jam in there to where you couldn't turn the lock. Simple, yet extremely complicated. Alright, so all installed under here. Got my LED. And that's the valet switch, which is kind of a joke. You'll never need a valet for this truck, but you have to have it due to the programming. Well, that's it. I don't know how many hours I got into doing this, because I kind of worked on it a little bit, an hour here, an hour there, over the better part of a weekend, but I like it. I like being able to just unlock and lock my doors with the click of a button. That's you know, it's not that much effort to turn a key, but to do it over and over and over again all day long, this is just going to make life just that much easier.